So, here's our first slide. Many of you might really know our form recognition technology. When I look through the attendee list today, I think there are many users of our PDF Compressor Enterprise product, and many users of our PDF Compressor Enterprise products are using or at least have given a test to our form recognition technology, as it so far was available as an option for the PDF Compressor Enterprise. For those who are not so familiar, quickly repeat it. Our form recognition technology is an own development done by LuraTech. I think nearly all of you know that when it comes to full text OCR recognition, full text OCR reading, we are in most of our products using the ABBY OCR technology. But what we are talking about here, the forms recognition technology, is nothing that is OEM from somebody else. It's an own development of LuraTech, and it is a full package that consists of both the rules-based classification and data extraction engine on the one hand, let's call it freeform recognition and extraction, and on the other hand, it also has a mode where you can do layout or template-based forms recognition and forms data extraction. So both well-known modes are in there, and it's a rules-based engine that you know from the PDF Compressor. So now what we did in the meantime is we added this free form recognition technology, or this form recognition technologies, into DocYard as a series of modules that you can use into DocYard. DocYard, for those who don't know, is our integration platform for this kind of jobs where you can set up individual workflows, configure individual workflows in a very quick way, as we see in the live demo today. And with having available the forms recognition technology inside DocYard, you can now create things like multi-step recognition processes in a pretty easy way. Based on the same well-known form recognition technology as we had it so far, you can, let's say, create more complex, or let's say, model out different, more complex requirements in DocYard, all the way probably up to double-blind data entry scenarios if you need that. You can let users work against machines, let's say, in terms of recognition accuracy, compare the results, take decision, build loops, and do validation and data aggregation against looked up data from databases. You can do things like random inspection, like these 10% that need to go in quality assurance for sure, in order to check out whether a batch principally is okay or not in the end, and all this kind of step. And I think you can already tell by just some keywords that I mentioned here that bringing together the workflow design in the DocYard way, as we have it, with the forms recognition technology, that makes it a real much more powerful tool than you know so far from the PDF Compressor experience you had with form recognition. In PDF Compressor, we had a form designer, which we still have in DocYard as a separate tool. Then we had a bulk processing engine, which is the PDF Compressor itself, and totally disconnected from that, only interacting through the file system, XML files and stuff like that, we had our validation desks or our validation software. In DocYard, it's a full and seamless integration and therefore a whole different user experience in form recognition. Okay, we want to keep the theory really short today, so that was the theoretical background already. Next step is really to go in praxis, and we have a real-world example here, which I don't know the correct English terms for, but what we have here is we have small cards that customers of utility companies sent back when they took a look at their meters and see the counts there, like the energy supply, the gas supply, whatever it is. You will see the documents in a minute and probably understand better what we're talking about here. We are going to extract a customer number from that postcards that are sent back to the company by the customers. We add the master record from a database to that data set. We extract the meter's value that the customer has really written down on that postcard with an ICR, a handwriting recognition engine inside the workflow. We do the validation here also in order to show you what's possible in a very easy way in a double-blind data entry approach. So first of all, the OCR will do a tour, and then the human data typist will do a tour, and then we see whether it's the same thing or not, and have a circle in there where we can circle it around for a certain time unless we get correct and accurate and matching extracted data. We do a quality control in the end with a 10% random sample that DocYard filters out and pushes forward to the validation desk. And of course, in the end, the workflow does all the preparation and all the formatting of data into other formats as the customer in this job here required it for export and hand over to the customer's interfaces. Yeah, that's what we have in mind to do today in like 30 minutes. Therefore, you can see how powerful it is and how quick you can get up to speed with rather complex recognition processes. So, in order to not steal his time, I would like to hand over to Mr. Helmut Schünemann now, who is our account manager for DocYard over here in Europe and who does today the much more fun practical demonstration of DocYard. Helmut, your turn.
Thanks, Carsten. Hello and a warm welcome to you all attendees. I would like to go with you through the demonstration, but before I start with the demonstration, I will show you the material that we will process. You see these cards. You have here on the left side a field for handwritten numbers, which is the counter we have to extract. And on the left bottom you see the customer number, which we also read out. It's also printed as a barcode. We use the barcode for extraction of data in this case, but we also need for human eyes readable presentation of this number for correcting the data if the reading of the barcode fails for several reasons. We have one example inside. You will see this later. What we are doing here in the job is we extract this number, complete the customer information from master record from database, and we also read this number. And the first recognition of data is from the machine, and then we have to do the second, the double input by human interface. And then I will show you the job that we are processing. Some of you may have seen this screen. It's the so-called DocYard cockpit, and it shows the job that we will process. It looks on the first view a little bit complicated, but in the end it's very simple. We start with importing scanned images. Then we have the formula extraction. What we here are doing is reading the customer number and also the handwritten number. And in the next step, we prepare this data for the export, for example, delete leading zeros or something like this. And then the double-blind data entry starts. At first, it goes into validation client, form validator client for data tipping in the data, and then we make the decision, are the results the same? And if they are the same, it goes to the next step. If not, it will go back for a second checking and typing in the data, as long as is the same result, and then it goes to the next step. And this step we collect the data from the master record from database. What you can see here is that we have a select statement, select from table. This is the database access, and after having completed the data, we go into the random inspection. And the random inspection means if the random sample is okay, the batch can be processed to the end. If not, the batch has to be reprocessed. It's a normal rule in production. If the batch is not okay, then you have to reprocess it. We will show this. And at the end, you see that we create for every card PDF file. The PDF file is named by the customer number. We extract it from the card, and also we collect the index data in a CSV file to export this to an ERP system for the further processing, for example, creating the yearly final fee for the customer, so that you, as an electricity supplier company, you will get your money at the end. And the PDFs will also be exported, but it's for long-time archiving. Normally, this job is running and listening to a folder and importing data as soon as they come in. For demonstration, I have to start this manually. That's what I will do and start the job. And what you see here is that there is a batch created and he's just beginning to running. And in this window here on the right side on the bottom, you can see the different steps from the workflow which it goes through. And it stops at first in the first instance to type in the data to fulfill these double-blind data entry. What I have to do here in this data entry solution, I have to connect to the job. It's for data entry. I do this twice to show you the loop. And what we see in the first window is the customer number is read out correctly, and the first instance, the machine read this, but I have to fulfill this double-blind data entry, so I have to put manually in the number here in these fields, and then say OK. We have another example here, and this is a little bit different from the first one. What you can see here is the customer number could not be read out because the barcode is destroyed. Somebody put something on the barcode so that the machine could not read this. This means we have now the first instance of the double-blind data entry, and this card will appear a second time in the form validator for typing in the data and check if we have two results which are the same to process the rest. So I have to put in here at first the customer number and also put in the counter number and say OK. And then we see that this comes again in the other validation client, and we have to put in a second time. Now it's a second time from the view of the job, the customer number to fulfill this double-blind data entry. And now it's OK. And we have the next step. We have the next step in the workflow, which is here the random inspection. And for this I have to connect for a second time to the random inspection. So in the first I see this is not correct. Somebody put in the customer number in the field for the value of the counter. So this document is not correct. I have to revise it. And the second one is okay from the sample, but overall the random inspection faulted. And the rule for processing is if the random inspection faulted, that means we have an error in processing. We can have a look at this error. We see here the error which are protocoled automatically by DocYard, and you see also the user which did here this inspection, and that means this job has to be this batch has to be reprocessed. So I have to do this batch for a second time. I will restart this. Now the batch is running for a second time, and we have to do the same job as before. We have to connect to the batch for data entry with these both validation clients. So what we see here is the second instance for the first card. I have to type in the counter number 9370, say OK, and in the other we have the example with the destroyed barcode. So this is the first instance for this card. I have to put in the customer number again and also put in the counter number. And we will see that this comes up again for a second time. The counter number is okay because it was written from the machine, so 2 instances are passed successfully, but the customer number has to be put in a second time. And now we have processed this again. And we come back to the next step, the random inspection. So I have to use this form validator again and connect to this batch for random inspection. And then I will see 10% of the job. And now we can see this is correct. We have in the first field the correct counter number, and in the second field we have the correct customer number. So I can say this sample is okay. And the second one is also okay. We have counter number and the customer number. I can say okay. And now the job will be finished, the batch will be finished without any error. And we can have a look to the export, which is the PDFs for the long time archiving, and also the CSV file for all the index data which have to be exported to ERP system. So we have here the output folder, and what we can see here is a lot of PDFs and also a CSV file, which I will open up at first. Now you see here different columns in this Excel spreadsheet. We have in the first column the customer number, which we have extracted from the postcards, and the next 3 columns are completed from the database, from the master record. We have the name, we have the Schünemann, we have the place where the customer lives, and we have the counter number, which was handwritten information on the postcard, which we extracted, and you don't see any leading zeros here. It's prepared for the export, and the file name of the PDF is created by using the customer number. So we can do something with the extracted data during the processing, which we also could not do inside the PDF compressor. It's also a difference. So let's have a look to one of these examples. The first one was ended with 7.3. Let's have a look to this card. You can see here is the PDF. It's a PFA standard document for long-time archiving. It's a 101 picture of the original card, which is exported now to the long-time archival system. So in the meantime, let's have a look to the job again. So we have here the situation, this batch is processed. The job is still active. If somebody scans in some more cards, they will be processed automatically and have the same procedure as we showed here in this short presentation. Okay, I think in the meantime we have some questions.
Oh yes, we do. Helmut, actually we have a long series of questions, and I am sure it's not because of the quality of your presentation, which I rather enjoyed, but it's really a wide and open field that we, I think, opened up here with our forms recognition technology, now that we put it into DocYard and are really able to do such flexible workflows here with it. So the first question is a real detailed question, but I think it's important, and it's going more back to, I think, my part of it when I mentioned that we do an ICR in here, and I said the forms recognition is something that we developed on our own. So once again, the ICR as well as the OCR that we have are ABI technologies. Full text OCR, field level full text ICR is ABI technology. Everything that you see on top here, like the rules-based stuff, the zonal extraction based on fixed form, fixed layout, and of course all the workflow technology, that's our own development. So to just really sort out the detail. Another question, and probably I have to answer that together with an apology, is the question that is pretty obvious when we are talking English here all the time and show tons of German words on our screen here. Yes, of course, this software is multi-language. I really have to excuse myself that we are showing this English presentation here on a German operating system computer. And that's already the reason why you see so many German words in the presentation. Once you install it on an English language operating system, it will all show up in the same way, just using English words. Yes, it's multi-language. The next question that comes up here is going to the output organization. It's pretty flexible what you do there, but here's a question that says, can I configure the output folder? Helmut, would you try to or say something more about flexible output and so on?
Yes, thanks for the question. Before I go to this detailed question, I will tell you that all these steps in the process are based on so-called DocYard modules. We have a list of modules which we can collect and combine to a job like we see here, for example. And all the steps have so-called parameters. So you do not need to program anything for creating such a job. You only set parameters to process it. And for the export, we have different possibilities how to do this. We can choose several output formats. We can use PDF as format for the output files. We can use JPEG or TIFF, whatever you want. And we can collect the index data in several ways. We can collect a CSV file, as we showed here. We can also produce here an XML file as a structure, which for these index data, whatever you need for the next processing step in the leading application, like an ERP system or a financial system for creating invoices to the customer, you can create. It's extremely flexible. And what we have here in this module, which creates the CSV file, is a macro. It's a macro that is written in Microsoft
PowerShell is the word you're looking for.
And it's a well-known tool, and you see here, for example, we have only a few arguments for the commands inside this. I will show this, and you can create this, and it will be stored in a library. And if you have another job which is similar to this, or you have also to create a CSV file, you can use this as a folder, as a template, edit it and set the parameters as you need for this other job, and also store it in the library. So you have you can reuse everything what you have created in DocYard before. So at the end, it's very flexible. You can have the output as you need.
Okay, here's another question from another attendee that probably is really already connected, or the next step based on the question before, because here's a question that goes in the direction of having specific exporters together with a question of whether or not you can create your own process steps in there. I think the question goes in the direction, could we have a direct documentum uploader in here, and how do we create a custom module in DocYard here? Helmut, are you going to answer that again?
Yes, thanks. First of all, I would show you the list of modules what we have in DocYard. All these list of modules are developed by our R&D team, and the next question is how can I put something in this module list as a DocYard module and use it in a DocYard job. What we offer here is software developer license kit. This is based on .NET using C#, Visual Basic or other programming languages, and with a training of 2 or 3 days you are able to create your own modules, or to integrate existing programs in DocYard so that you can use, for example, a different data entry client or whatever, and also generate a generic export for an archiving system, DMS system like IBM Content Manager or OpenText or whatever. And you can put this in here. You have in this module all the possibilities to set parameters, define input-output channels, and have it configurable and use it for different jobs, and export at the end everything what you have as files for long-term archiving, for example, to a DMS system, and also have a generic module for collecting data for export to your financial system or ERP system or whatever.
Yeah, and at that point I might, before I go to the next question here, add that you can do this on your own if you like, if you have the capabilities to do that and the skilled IT folks or stuff, because we license the DocYard module API for that, and you can connect your existing environment or your customer's environment, creating DocYard modules if you need it, and put it into your workflows here. Of course, everything that we just shown, from developing custom modules all the way up to configuring, setting up these parameters here, you can also get it through our own professional service teams or through our partner channels, professional services. So there's plenty of choices. You don't necessarily need to do that on your own, but you can if you like. I would like to go on to another real series of questions that all point in the same direction and that we haven't looked at here so far. So the questions go from all the way from, is there an audit trail that shows the throughput of a single person and the effectiveness of a single person in typing, all the way up to, can I do my own custom statistics in DocYard? Thanks for those questions. I think that gives us an opportunity that Helmut shows us a little bit about our reporting capabilities here.
Yes, thanks for this question. In DocYard we have a database included, and in this database we collect very precise data concerning all the process steps. This is for the automatically processed steps, and what your question is about more the interactive steps like quality assurance, data entry, or whatever. And all these data can be collected in general. For general reports, we have two of them inside the system, which will be delivered with the software. And you can also collect the data in every case you ever need for your own statistics. For example, to check is the staff over the month more effective with this new job or not? Is my calculation correct that I suggested after 3 months they have twice the performance than at the beginning, for example? So let's at first have a look at the standard reports we have inside the system here. We have two different views to these data in the database. We have on the one hand the view from the job side, which is really important for you if you are a service provider to establish and create the invoice for the customer. You have to elect only the job here, you have to elect the period about the report, and then only click on the apply button, and then you will see the report, which is really short because we only processed one batch. At this case, we have the information when the job is generated, the report period, when the job did start and when it ends, and how much time elapsed during the processing. We have the number of batches, we have the number of documents that are processed, and we have the time about this, and we have here a summary of all this, and this data you can export also as an CSV file, and then you have the possibility to give this directly to your accounting system that can create the invoice from this, or that reads in the data automatically in the financial system or the ERP system. That's one side of the coin, one view that we have to the database. On the other hand, we have also the possibility to do a staff report. Same, you collect the period and to collect the staff for whom we will create the report. And for example, we have here the job the person administrator. In this, we have here 2 jobs he was involved in, and we see which time he needed for the several steps. We have the information about the 2 jobs, how many batches were processed, how many pages, and the time. And if you do several reports about different periods, you can see the progress in performance or not, increase or decrease, whatever. And you have at least the collected and total time for this. You can use this also for a bonus system for your customers. And this can also be exported as a CSV file, and you can use this in your HR system for paying bonuses or whatever. But this is only a simple example that comes with the system. Every customer has special needs and requirements to reporting. Don't worry, every data you may need for your very individual report will be in the database. The database scheme is open, and you can collect the data as ever you want.
Yeah, Helmut, thank you very much for that. While you explained that every single step in our workflows is protocoled or documented in our database, pretty granular, so that also questions that might come across to you in 2 years from now can still be answered, because first and foremost you have all the relevant data in a harmonized format in a single place and not distributed over a ton of log files and whatnot. This sparked off one other question, but don't worry, it's easy. I can answer it myself. So the question is, what kind of databases DocYard can use or uses? This is a technical question, but it's pretty open again. The database that comes with DocYard in a package is a PostgreSQL database that is just in the package so that you can immediately start using everything here. But if you prefer to use, or your company by policy uses, Microsoft's SQL Server or Oracle or anything else that is an SQL database, DocYard can very well make use of that instead of the ship with DocYard in a package PostgreSQL database. So it's pretty flexible on that end and not really limited to anything. And it can even be more than one database that is involved here. Probably you use our PostgreSQL database for DocYard itself and all the protocoling and all the storing of the data and jobs and whatnot. And then you have to look up something from your accounting system database in order to complete a master record or what. Or you need to store your results to another database that is part of your document management system. That altogether is not a problem. That is all real-world examples we already went through. Okay.
I see a last question here. It's concerning the training which is needed to create such a job, and how much time needs a trained person to configure this whole job here. I think we have a slide prepared for this.
Okay, yes. Yes, I have on my slides here. So thanks for that. It's a perfect switch back to the PowerPoint slides. And also we are reaching our time limit of 45 minutes now, so I will speed up and show you the answer to that question. And I hope you can see my screen in the meantime. Helmut, can you confirm that?
Yes.
He did.
Yes, I see.
Okay, good. Yeah, the effort to set up something like we saw here, set up, configure, and actually put to production something like we saw here, really for a trained person, I think that's a precursor, is probably surprisingly fast because of the methods and ways we implemented that DocYard and put pretty modular our forms recognition technology into DocYard. So what needs to be done is the job configuration inside DocYard. You see, you drag and drop all the modules that you need for this job and connect them in the right way, including the loops for double-blind data entry, and then configure every module where you say a double-blind data entry, only 10 trials, and then phase it out or something like that, and all the other parameters, say 10 or 20 or 40% random samples, whatever it is. You, on the other hand, have to create the form design. I think that's for sure. The form design in this case, you need to say in which regions to look for what numbers, using what technology, what OCR, ICR confidence level are minimum needed in order to accept it, and otherwise put it on QA or whatever it is. That has to be done too, including the rules. Then you got to do the configuration of the database access in order to retrieve the master record based on the customer number. You will be surprised how simple that is. That is one line in there, one single SQL statement. Pretty easy. You got to design the validation step, like what goes on the validation step in what cases. And you have to design the format conversion from our internal index data format into some XML, or in this case CSV files that you need to export, set up like the columns and the rows and how it is exported, including setting up whether the PDF should be exported as one multi-page PDF using bookmarks or a series of single-page PDFs or whatever you want, PDF, PDFA, whatever it is. It's all configuration. Once you got it up and running, you'll sure spend some time testing it. And a trained professional will spend no more than a single man day for a job like this here. So I think that's really quick and adds a little bit to our initial thought where we said using forms recognition technology in DocYard can really be an alternative and a cheaper solution than using those well-known capture systems that are out there in the market. And probably first thing that comes to your mind so far, before you saw this presentation, when you got to solve a task like we saw today, or even a much more complicated, more fields to extract kind of classification or data extraction job. Okay, this is about the effort. I think we are ready to summarize a little bit with a statement. My statement really is here, our statement is integrating form recognition technology in DocYard unleashes the full capability of our classification and data extraction engines as you might have known them already from the PDF Compressor. So it takes it to a whole new level of capabilities. Form recognition in combination with DocYard is in many use cases a real alternative to those well-known expensive capture systems. I'd say give it a try. Whenever you come across the next job that involves form recognition needs, data extraction needs, classification needs, and has a certain workflow, call us, send us an email, ask for a free trial version, which is absolutely not a problem. On the last screen here, you see the connection details. Just drop an email to Helmut Schünemann, who was my partner in presenting it here today, and he will be happy to help you forward to get your trial run and see that we told you the truth today and see that DocYard, together with our forms recognition technology, is a real alternative to the well-known capture systems out there. Time's over. It was a pleasure to have you here today. Thank you very much, and please don't forget to fill in our survey that pops up once you leave the webinar. Hope to see you soon in our next webinar. Thank you very much for your attention, and have a good day.
Thank you, and I'm looking forward to get your response. Hope to hear from you soon. Bye-bye.